Right guys, okay, back again, just done a lot of work now. As you can see, I've filled and sanded the base here. It's a rough sand. There's going to be little dings in it like that, which have to be redone, but getting the basic shape. Did the same thing here with the join between the two sides. I've only done this about half an hour ago, but it's already set off. I'm supposed to, according to the jar, I can start cutting and shaping, which I will in a minute. But my little trick of using the putty there, the goop made out of the shavings of this stuff and acetone, worked fine, but this end it would be a bit too tight, so I actually used some of the old, our Nerfer's favourite, the epoxy putty, and just pushed it in there and shape it, and that'll be sanded. So what I'll do now is just peel off this tape to see how this area went. I know people like to watch these sort of things on these YouTube videos. So I'll get on with finishing off this, do some sanding, get back to you, show the results. Okay, talk to you again soon guys. Okay guys, there we have it. Dry, as you can see, very rough. I've just cut away a lot of the waste, very roughly. A lot of cleaning up to do, of course. That'll be sanded down, very similar down here to the end. Finished off, cleaned up. That's the putty there. That was put in 3 hours ago, and it still feels slightly tacky and slightly warm, so I'm not even going to put any sanding paper on that until tomorrow. Same with this. I'll start in the Dremel just cleaning up areas, just making it look similar both sides. So what I've done, I've fixed this part in. I've put some what do you call it, blade runner in there, which is this stuff. The stuff you get with your foil wrap, your Glad wrap, and the little runner. Just cut it in strips and put it in there just to make it look like a vent, a cooling area. Also jammed one into there, nice and tight. And also this little nick I took out of the top of the Piccaninny rail, just straightened it up, stuck one in there, just glued it across. It actually fits really well, looks good. So, little lesson, never throw anything away. So what I'm doing now, well, what I've done, once I put these on, I taped around it. I clicked that in the hole, I positioned that roughly and just glued it with a little bit of my homemade acetone glue. Then I taped around it, leaving a gap, which I then troweled the acetone mixture, the goop, in all the way around, and even in between the two pieces to form a solid joint. Peeled it off before the acetone, the glue dried, because I didn't want it stuck under plastic, because I've already had that issue. When it was dry, I gave it a rough sand, then taped it all again, and went over it with the Tamiya modelling putty, which is, I think it's the first time I've used it on this stuff. We'll see how it goes, but it's pretty good, easy to work. And that gives me a nice smooth edge with only a thin covering of putty. You don't want deep pits of putty, because it just doesn't dry, it takes forever. I've had experience with that. And that's the reason for this video. What I'm doing now is I've decided, in a fit of bullheadedness, to fill up all the exposed holes. So as you can see, I've put tape over them, cut out the hole. Now the way to do this I'll show you in the next video. Okay guys, quick demo of how I plug these holes. So with my box of offcuts and strap, I just get out any old little bit, just a bit of shaving. The stuff that comes off when you're sanding and grinding is very good, it's very pliable. So just jam it in there, and all that's going to do is reduce the amount of volume of this goop I need. So first thing I do is just a little bit of the liquid that's there, just to get it down in the hole, to get it going. This stuff, if you leave it, it tends to harden up, so you've got to keep wetting it with acetone. And I'm thinking that once the acetone's dissolved it and it hardens up, it's probably going to lose a little bit of its quality, so you might have to just make it fresh every time. But anyway, so now I've got a bit of the actual goo, and to smear it in there like that, trying to keep it on the tape. keep it as smooth as possible, that way it makes it easy to sand. Now here's the site I've just done about 10 minutes ago, and what I'll do is just pull off a couple of bits of the plastic, tape I mean, so that way I'm not going to have the tape sealing the paper to the surface of the gun, so when it comes to sanding it's going to be pretty easy. That's pretty soft, so I can just tap it down with my finger. That one's in a groove, which still didn't turn out too bad. And as this dries, it gets harder and harder to the point it gets a little bit like, very, very hard biscuit, very soft cement. And then you can just cut it and shape it fairly easy. So there's a corner piece. Let's take out them. So you get the idea all the way along. Yes, you can see it's so sticky that it's going to come up when you pull up the tape, but it's easier to do it when it's wet than when it's dry, because when it's dry it's just rock hard. It seals the tape to the surface. So yeah, a few little problems, but nothing I can't handle. Easy enough just to push it down with a knife again. Now I could have just left that dry, just when it's dry, just go straight across the knife, cut it off.